Hey there, just a quick reminder, we have a mentorship program if you're looking for personalized coaching and mentorship to help guide you to the next level of your interior design business, whatever that might look like for you, whether it's processes and procedures or what services to offer to how to incorporate wellness, intention, or spirituality into your projects. Come join us over at designcoven.com/join. Or if you're just in search to connect with other like-minded interior designers, you can join our free community, also located at designcoven.com/join. Hello. On today's episode, we have Rachel White, who is the creator of the tarot deck Totem. And today's episode features a Tarot Tuesday, which happens on Patreon at my Patreon group, patreon.com/bewitching for any of you that are looking to join. It's only $5 a month. We get together the first Tuesday of the month, connecting over tarot and, of course, pulling tarot cards live for everybody there in the session. This time around, we had Rachel White join us with her tarot deck Totem. Rachel is the Skeptical Shaman. Here for the spiritually homeless, Rachel blends real-world pragmatism, her sense of humor, and ancient tools and techniques into her practice as a trained shaman, medium, energy practitioner, self-published author, and flower essence maker. As one client wrote in a Yelp review, Rachel White is the Amy Schumer of shamanic practitioners. She is equal parts blunt as she is spiritually unique, breaking every preconceived notion of the traditional image of what it means to live a spiritual life. She is, simply put, for the spiritually curious but non-committal who are looking for a more profound sense of meaning without feeling like they are joining a cult. Rachel joins us on this episode. We get into her inspiration for the Totem deck, along with other practices, including her flower essences, which are so magical. So this is a little glimpse or a big glimpse, I should say, as to what we do on Tarot Tuesday. And like I said, everyone is welcome. You can sign up at patreon.com/bewitching. You're listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. This is a podcast that guides you as a new or inspiring independent interior designer navigating your entrepreneurial path. Here, with my over 20 years experience, I will share my holistic approach to design with intention and ancient practices, including feng shui, all incorporating mind, body, and spirit into my design projects. You will also learn from seasoned interior designers as they give strategies and insight of how they built their businesses and continue to work in the field. Together, we will discover supportive trade partners, new ideas, creatives, and inspiring artists from around the world. I am your host, Rachel Lorraine Crawford. Welcome to Bewitching the Home. I'm so excited that today we are showcasing a Tarot Tuesday, which happens the first Tuesday of every month. And we usually have a tarot deck creator or an oracle deck creator come and join us so that we get to explore their view, their perspective of the tarot, which I think is really beautiful. And we get to also take a look at their art and understand, the different ways of reading cards, because it's always so personal and it always changes and it's forever evolving. So we've got Rachel White on today. Her tarot deck is called Totem. And I'm going to go ahead and open up our space by, of course, just ringing our bell, connecting with our higher selves, connecting with our bodies, coming into the present moment. And then I am going to light our candle just to bring in that beautiful essence and spirit of fire that I'm so attracted to, and just to alert, our spirit guides and our higher selves, ancestors, that they are welcome into our space for the best and highest good of everyone that is listening and here presently. And this is usually the time that I pull a card. You know what? I will pull a card. I'm going to pull a card for everybody. And then we'll pull cards at the end personally, but I would love to pull a card just for the group for right now to kind of set the stage for our connection. And I always read my cards right side up. So we've got the 7 of crystals. And Rachel, you're going to have to remind me, the crystals are which element?
Points.
Okay. So we've got the 7 of crystals, which would be the 7 of pentacles, which for me is always about assessment. It's checking in. And I feel like this is where I'm at personally in my life, in my career. I'm really looking at things, assessing where we're at, pulling the weeds that aren't quite producing or that are sucking life energy that's not really conducive to what I'm wanting to bring into the world. And I love that you've got this one crystal that's really highlighted here in the center. Was there a meaning behind that?
Yeah, I'm a little OCD, so there's basically meaning to everything. How our brains work. To me, it's sort of a divine timing kind of card. The idea of cultivating patience, but also vigilance. And the idea of that being one of maybe the fruits on the tree that's ripened, or the meeting of sliding doors, that intersection point. And so, yeah, what you were saying of being vigilant, minding things, but also being able to see when the divine timing comes in, that big opportunity, what people call luck, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting, just kind of coming into that Lionsgate, or, that portal that we're sort of in, and having that be like this doorway, and having this opportunity of kind of walking through this portal space. I think and I'm just speaking personally without getting too much involved, but like the timing, it's all about this timing, and like it wouldn't have happened, or things wouldn't have happened the way that they're happening until this moment. It's like all the things are leading up, and it's like leading up to this one space. So I don't know if you guys are feeling anything in your personal lives or lives in general about, like, it's almost like this accumulation or this point, and it's like we've come to like the very tip, and it's like, okay, now's the time to like sort of jump and go for these things, because they're all adding up to this one moment. I love it. Well, Rachel, what are you nourishing yourself this evening with? What do you?
Oh, yeah. So I love red wine, and I'm weird about it. See the OCD thing again? So this is from a winery called Jolie, Laide, which I love just because of the name. It's one of my favorite French phrases. It means pretty ugly. And it's a style of like handsome woman, like an Angelica Houston or something like that. And it's all biodynamic. I waited 4 years on their allotment list. And now because of COVID and everything, all these people dropped off. So I was able to order another 2 cases. Wow. And it arrived today. Divine timing. Wow. And what is it called? I know the Jolie Laide. Jolie, Laide, Laide, I believe. See, I had to do that. I can't spell things unless I write them. It's the weirdest little ism. But yeah, I had an unusually long day. I'm much better at balance than today just kind of happened. So I said, I'll treat myself.
I love it. Yeah. And I've got a Sauvignon Blanc over here. So I'm just kind of refreshing myself. It's so hot. All right. So Rachel, I really want to dive into your deck, because the moment that I opened it up and I started playing with it, and the first card I pulled was the card, actually, I think I pulled this card, was it today? Or maybe it was yesterday, the Maiden of Trees, I think.
Yeah. The Maiden.
Yeah. And you have a phrase. It was, don't apologize for your truth, I think was the last little piece. And that's been my mantra this week. And it resonated so well. And I feel like I'm constantly filtering and apologizing for like my essence or what I am or who I am. And, it goes through this lens, or it goes through this filter. And it's like, I got to stop like doing that. And I don't want to apologize for being, who I am, and being true to who I am. So I just have to tell you that card was really, really beautiful. That was the first card I pulled, and then I pulled it again, and I was like, there's something obviously here.
Well, thank you. And I want to come back to that, because I have another client who always gets that card, and she's actually a practicing witch. So I think it shows up for people that do like herbalist magic or something that's practical magic. instead of theoretical. But also today I just wrote or published my Substack for my paid subscribers. I do it for every full moon, themed around it. And the theme of the Aquarius full moon that I wrote about was that your difference is what makes you valuable to society. But society doesn't really know how to handle that. So they'll try and get you into like the Pink Floyd meat grinder, like looking like everybody else. But they're unintentionally destroying or eroding the value that you can bring. So the idea of embracing that what makes you different makes you special, but also valuable. And that's why you shouldn't compromise on it, even though you meet with so much resistance. Yeah.
Yeah. And this full moon is always my favorite because of that combination of the full moon in Aquarius and then the sun in Leo. Like that combo for me is like, it just hits the spot.
And what is your moon in? Do you know?
I'm a Leo moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm an Aquarius moon. And it's why they always misinterpret me, and they don't understand that my calming down, my grounding ritual is like watching conspiracy theory documentaries or doing mushrooms. Yeah, it's not normal stuff.
Weird stuff. They're like, what?
Weird stuff. Yeah.
So funny. So tell me, how did you first get involved with the tarot? Like,
yeah.
What was that relationship like, or how did you get introduced?
Well, I've read tarot cards my whole life. Since I was a very young child, I came across a deck, and that's all sort of boring story, but they were in the house, and just started going with it, and then grew up, gave all that up, became a good little atheist, especially after Catholic school and Catholic college. It'll do that to you. Like, I need a break. And it really came back in after a series of events. And I've had my shamanic practice now for 10 years. I built it almost the whole time off the side of my desk in corporate. I was an innovation director for a publicly traded global company, corporate real estate company. And so the tarot deck, I was making it basically over the last 5 years with one of my clients. She's the designer. And I just felt compelled. To me, the deck is bringing to life characters I've met in shamanism and energy work sessions, and giving them like a little home, breathing a little life back into them. And I wanted to make like a replacement, or maybe an update is a better word, for the Rider-Waite, right? Like that classic, $8 on Amazon. When I teach workshops, I always tell people, get the Rider-Waite. It's the easiest one to learn on. And what would you do with that now? Like how would that look design wise? I also felt like things were very overtly, like at times Lisa Freak in their pretty feminine quality. And there was nothing that had that more like Tesla Apple design. Like I live and breathe in only black and white clothing, so it's a bit of an urbane sentiment to the deck. Yeah.
Everybody, so they can kind of get a glimpse of what we've got. And I noticed that you have all of these what would you call them? Not people, but they're archetypes, or
totally like Jungian archetypes, pagan deities, beings. Yeah.
And what prompted that, or did you just feel called to like introduce them in a new way, connecting to these different cards?
I literally met all of these characters doing my work, either for myself or with clients, and then would reverse engineer it and type something in, and it would be like, yep, that's Hecate, and everything from your dream is accurate. And so it was a way of like honoring them and getting them back into the milieu, if you will.
Yeah. They're gorgeous. And then I noticed you have a ton of sacred geometry on here. That, of course, I'm sure it was intentional. And how did you decide which shapes went with who, and how did you kind of connect the two?
Well, Emma and I built a vision board on Pinterest for every single card, because I'm that kind of a pain in the ass. Poor Emma, right? Emma really went through it. Don't worry, she's my partner on it, because I believe in, democratizing things and not being a jerk. But she free drew all of that. Like all of that is original, because I'm a little insane about intellectual property.
Right.
So it's all custom. I like Kabbalah. I studied Kabbalah pretty extensively. And so there's a bunch of Kabbalah, sacred geometry, things like that in here too.
And then how did you decide, the connection with the trees and the crystals and the moon and all of that? How did you, and metal, pick which?
I wanted to make it elemental. Like what does swords govern? thoughts, the mind, right? Metals, and the idea of getting it down to something that's elemental to frankly make it a little more tangible for some of my clients who just weren't in this world. They're like pentacles. Yeah. I'm like, it's a crystal. You like crystals. There you go.
Yeah. And then again, the color palette it's really in alignment with your style. And yeah.
I had a client, God bless her, I pulled a card in person and she had not seen the deck. And she goes, oh no, I got the black card. I'm like, oh my God, they're all black. Like, it's okay. Poor thing. She was so stressed out. She got like the card of doom or something.
Yeah. Does anyone have questions for Rachel on the deck?
No, but I think they're beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, they're really beautiful. I always look to know like what was like your favorite card and then what, like your hardest card.
Yes, I have answers to both of those. So my favorite card is Lilith, the serpent snake thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, only because, you know, she's forgotten a little bit. And when I studied Kabbalah and I learned Hebrew as an adult, you read the Old Testament and stuff and you're like, oh, the first human God made was someone else. And it actually explains the whole thing with Eve and like everything starts making sense. So I was like, she's got to go in here. And the design of it, the vision board were a bunch of shed snake skins, but also DNA helixes with the idea of like restoring ourselves epigenetically and getting back to the fact that we shouldn't be slaves in a debt bondage system. Like, when we breathe and we sit in the backyard, we're still of value, which is something I'm working on. I always go to this like I do, therefore I am thing. So I'm working on that energy. And then the one that was the hardest was vampire. Because we definitely wanted a vampire, and that's the Knight of Swords, by the way. Yeah. And it was just one of those things like, how do you do it without making it look like it's from Hot Topic?
Yeah.
There were many versions of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
It's funny you asked that question. You must know that anyone who creates these has self-induced trauma. That's a great, very insightful question.
It is. Kelly always has that question for us, and it's always a good one. We love it. Yeah, and so when you, Rachel, your work, you read. Is that what you're, and then can you also share with us, like, I'm sure do you read just your deck or are you reading other decks or?
Oh, I use other decks from time to time. Otherwise it gets so boring.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point though, I had hundreds of them. So I had a shaman yard sale when I was living in Chicago with all my crystals that I don't use anymore, all my stuff, all my clients showed up. It was hilarious. People like brought wine and it turned into like a real event in my building in the West Loop. But yeah, I read for clients. So I have a practice, the name of the practice is Totem readings. And I see clients every single day. I do coaching work in it, which is spiritual transformation. It's pretty intense. It's an immersion thing. It's not that casual, or as I joke, it's not Burger King. You can't have it your way. But I also do one-on-one new client sessions every week, read tarot cards, do Akashic record readings and things like that.
Amazing. Jenna has
a question. The development of the characters in the deck, these are all people or beings that I know and I've done direct shamanic work with. So I sat down and just thought about where they would fit in. For instance, Odin is actually really the first hanged man, and he hung upside down by his foot. And that's the genesis of that card in the Middle Ages versions. And it's funny, 4,000 years before a Jesus figure, he was betrayed by his brother, stabbed through the rib, hung upside down by a Christmas tree on the solstice, and rose on the third day as a god. So just trying to bring some of these stories back into tarot so it's less flat and it's more like if someone's pulling a card and they get it a lot, like Maynard, they can Google Maynard. They can maybe get a book about them, learn about them, and develop a more shamanic practice. Yeah, and like the death card is Anubis. Isn't that happier?
Yeah. So cool. I mean, just look at that transformation. Yeah.
I call it the spinal elevator. Oh, the tower card, Jenna, is Set. He's the Egyptian god of chaos.
Do I have?
And there's an animal that they say still haunts rural Egypt where the cane fields are and stuff, called the Salawa, which means Set animal. And it's sort of like a werewolf story for them. And we made the ears of the set animal look like, towers or structures.
Oh, how cool. I'll have to pull that one up. We can take a look at it. That's
Yeah,
fun.
I'm a nerd. So that's sort of the short answer for the genesis of the characters.
Yeah, I love it. It's just fantastic. And, and then I also use, tarot in my everyday work, like even with my clients, like we might pull a card just to kind of get an energy field of like what's happening at the moment and, see what's going on. Is this one?
Yeah, that's
Yeah. It's that tower card. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, and it's just about, for me, it's like connecting with our intuition and our subconscious and seeing like what's there that we aren't kind of able to tap in any other way than to do something like this. And I love being able to read for people that, I don't know. And it's, it's a nice confirmation for them, to have somebody like Rachel to come in and be like, hey, this is what I'm seeing, reading, this is what's happening. And it's just them saying, okay, I'm not like in my head, like I'm not making stuff up. It's just like, it's a beautiful way to get information and insight from ourselves.
The Carl Jung, the father of Jungian psychology, loved tarot. He used it with his clients in therapeutic settings because he believed the symbols and the configuration communicated with our subconscious mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I have to ask you about your tinctures because I see them all lined up behind you.
I ran out of shelf room in the other room. So I hand make flower essences. We grow everything from seed. I actually started it during COVID because I just wanted an excuse to go on our roof deck in Chicago. And I'm not good at relaxing. So I was like, I'll have a garden. And then because I'm not good at relaxing, I was like, let's make flower essences. And my husband's a chef, so we have a vapor distiller and all this chef stuff in the house. So yeah, we hand grow them from seed. Everything's organic. We put praying mantises out there, so no chemicals, just praying mantises and lizards and hummingbirds and things like that. And they have a little bit of plant matter in them, which I like. I think that it gives a little more of a witchy oomph to it instead of just the vibrational energy of a plant. And the one behind me, which I ran out of space for because I keep selling out of it, is the newly minted for cash flow and abundance for like an entrepreneur, anybody looking for funding, by the way.
I need them. Next question was, where could I find those or get them?
You just message me. I like keeping things really old school and analog.
Yeah,
it's
what's
part of my
your
enjoy.
contact?
I'll put it in the chat for you, but also, Rachel's definitely got it. It's Rachel@totemreadings.com.
Yeah, and we'll also have it in the show notes for anyone that's listening that's not on the call, obviously, so that you all have access to.
Yeah, and the beautiful deck looks amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, we want to make something different.
All right, are we ready to pull some cards?
Yes.
All right, sweet. So you're welcome to either unmute yourself or put it in the chat, and I'll pull a card, and then I'll kind of give you my feeling, and then I'll have Rachel chime in if there's some more or if I get stuck.
Hi, Rachel. It's Michelle. I would like to go first because my flight is about to leave.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's get you in. Michelle's going to go. I am so jealous. Okay. So Michelle, do you have a question?
Just what this next month look like for me.
Okay. And I read my cards right to death. I'm going to read them in that direction.
So do I, by the way.
Oh, cool. It just makes it easy. All right, Michelle. What do we have? How do you say this? Dambla?
Oh, Damballa. Yeah. It's in Voodoo, the name of their religion is the serpent in the rainbow, and it translates to Damballa Ewido. So that's the serpent that creates the multiverse and all the other dimensions.
And so is this the world card?
It is, yeah. And if you go to New Orleans, they honor him with a white egg and white flower. He has this thing with eggs. So we made it eggy.
Oh my goodness. So Michelle, what I'm seeing here for you is like, there's just like a complete circle. Things are wrapping up. It's like things are wrapping up and closing in so that you can kind of bloom out into something else. What I'm seeing is like, I'm almost seeing like this lotus blooming or this white flower that's about to like pop. It's like, it's still in this like, in that, what is it? The bud. And I'm just seeing it go like this for you, Michelle.
Okay, thank you.
It's a really great card to get before a trip to a different kind of place. Yeah, it's a very auspicious travel or geographic move card over a large body of water. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, safe travels. Gabriella.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. is here. She had a question on regarding dealing with traumatic employees and how the stress impacts her health. Okay, so let's pull a card for Gabriella on her health.
Oh yeah.
The what is it? The Nine of Metals.
Mhm.
So it's that Nine of Swords card of, you know, that stress, anxiety, like, oh, there's a train going by. I'm sorry. I'll wait a second.
The feng shui of the train is really relevant, by the way.
Yeah.
That means things at work are heavy and stressful. I'm so sorry, Gabrielle.
Yeah, Gabrielle. Yeah, I mean, this is just that piece. So it's kind of like whenever I get this card, it's always a reminder of like, okay, things are like super amped up. Things are like at the extreme. So it's like, how can I help, you know, self-care in the way of like the mind? A lot of this to me is like all mental stuff. So it's like really getting you out of certain spaces. And if it's at work, like getting you out of the workspace at your lunch, like at any moment, getting out for breaks. Like I'm just hearing like headspace or like clear space to kind of ease and open the mind. So I'm almost wanting to see like expansion and just clarity versus like what I'm seeing right now. It's just like these things that are just piling on top of each other. And it's so overwhelming. It's almost like you're buried underneath these bricks of some sort. So it's just about, you know, getting you in a space and connecting. Also, I always like to connect with nature whenever I'm feeling this intense stress. So if it's like water or getting out into your favorite place that you can kind of just decompress and let a lot of this go back into Mother Earth, or just like releasing some of that for her to take this away.
Yeah, sometimes with that card too, you can have sleep issues. I've had insomnia off and on my whole life. So I would just suggest, if you can, like a pretty intentional going to sleep ritual. If you're able to. I don't know how stressful and how busy things are, but shutting off blue screens, taking a nice salt bath, getting everybody's screwed up energy off of you. And then I keep smoky quartz by my bed when I have that kind of vibe going on, because it just absorbs negative energy, but it's not a high vibration crystal like this guy that's going to keep me up. So smoky quartz, cheap, it's easy, it works. It's like a HEPA filter for messed up energy.
Yeah.
There's stuff you can do. Take care of yourself.
Yeah. All right, Carrie.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. Hang in there, Gabrielle. I'm so sorry. Carrie's question is general energy for her. So let's see what we've got for Carrie. And yours is the Three of Trees. It's that Three of Wands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love this card. This is one of my favorite cards just because for me, like getting the Three of Trees is always about being a visionary and thinking big and like going all out and like not like holding nothing back, and just like let's like that permission to just, if you can have anything, like what is it, and tapping into that energy. And also just seeing like, is everything lining up to get there? Like, and if it's not, like this is just a cue to like start cutting some of that stuff out that's not going to get you to that point.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that's perfect for now.
Good. All right. Jeriana wants to know what Spirit wants her to know. All right, Jeriana. Alchemist. Ooh, you got some stuff going on. This is a good card. I love it. What is this? 14, the star?
Yeah, that's alchemy. Temperance.
Yeah. So yeah, alchemy, bringing things forward. I don't know. I'm sure that you're working on something, Jeriana, but what I'm seeing here, whenever I think of the alchemist or just thinking of the archetype in general, it's kind of like they're doing their thing. They're in their element. They're mixing, right? They're just mixing all the things. And then it's just overly abundant and like success, and like whatever it is that you're wanting to bring forward is like on its way.
And Jeriana, I would just add that that's something unique to you that only you can make. And it's a combination of all these seemingly disparate skills and expertise that you have, things that may not seem like they go together, but you have like a unique, it's greater than the sum of its parts, frankly. This is maybe the best way to put it.
Yeah, I love that phrase. Absolutely. So, Jenna, her sister, was just saying that she's moving and potentially looking for a new job. So definitely in the works. I feel like, you know, going into this new space, you're going to be able to pull these things together that you might not have been able to do in the past or in another location. Like there's a combination of multiple things happening for you. All right, Jenna, what is on the horizon for career growth? I've left teaching and I'm trying to move into instructional design. What is the outlook? Okay. All right, Jenna. Oracle. This is the 5, which is the Hierophant. And this is, learning new skills and gathering. It's just seeing like gathering information. And maybe Rachel, you can explain a little bit more about like this sacred geometry and why these certain things are put together. Because to me, it's there's just something there, and I don't know that I quite.
Yeah, well, the design is the sort of concept of as above, so below. And the Oracle at Delphi would get these downloads or transmissions from above. And also the idea of what we do here, hence the Hierophant, right? Ritual, you go to mass, you go to moon ritual, whatever it is. This also affects what's up there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I always think of that person as the translator of receiving this information and then being able to translate it to the masses or to the other people in a way that only they can do it. So yeah, that's so cool. All right. Who else? Hey, Kelly.
Okay. Well, so today is actually our 1-year anniversary to moving here from San Diego to Florida. So I guess my question it would be like, I was like, this last year's been like so much change, so much growth. It's, it's been good overall.
Yeah.
So like, are there any like messages about like, as we enter like, year 2, like as I'm getting into it, like, yeah, do I have any thoughts about that as I kind of like, I feel like now I'm like settled and I'm ready to like kind of like do the next thing. So,
well, yeah. All right, Kelly, let's see what we got for you going into year 2. Ooh, this is the one of crystal. So definitely planting of some seeds for the crows are going. Planting the seed, like the grounds are fertile. The time is right to like put that in and start something fresh and like really, pour yourself into it, really water that seed that you have that you've been like holding. I feel like you've been holding onto this thing and it's like, I don't know, like the time's not right. It's like the time is like, let's do it. And then I don't know if Rachel has anything to add on that.
It's just a great opportunity for professional and financial development. Every time I pull that card, I get an offer, I get an opportunity. I found my meditation space when I was in Chicago the day I pulled that card. So sometimes too, it's like the ideal space for a business, but it's something that's rooted in material reality.
Yeah. It's all about money and and good stuff.
Great.
All right, Chris, do you have a question? Parents, you're welcome.
Well, I'm going to go similar. What should I expect over this next year here in Gator Country?
I love Florida, by the way.
Ooh, you have the 6 of trees. So I definitely see some movement happening. Some things are shifting. And I don't know if you're going into travel, but usually whenever I pull this, this is the 6. This is victory and success. And like, again, it's kind of connecting with what Kelly was talking about with like things sprouting and things like coming into fruition. And this is coming back, right? This is coming back from going out. And I mentioned a little bit of something with travel, but I that's not necessarily with this card, but what I'm hearing is like this, there's some sort of a travel element with what's happening this year.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I call that the cut red tape card, because anything that felt like it was stagnant or slow, it's like now you're moving. Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorite cards to get.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That makes sense with the way that you've got this drawn out. Yeah, I could totally see that. It's like things are just like opening up and expanding and you're able to have a clear path forward. It's very cool.
Thanks.
Wonderful.
All right, Anka.
Oh, okay. It's also interesting. I can decide what question is more intrigued about. Okay, but the question is it's 2 questions, but it's kind of one.
Okay.
So the first one is, although I'm somewhat certain I want to move to Mallorca in Europe at some point soon, and I want to build another slightly bigger retreat. And also I would love to attract my soulmate, who then also hopefully will run in some sort of function that retreat. So I've recently met someone, so I'm curious.
Ah.
Maybe one, maybe not. But then I also know this designer who I've met is coming. Is he the one? So it's maybe a little bit of a threefold question.
Yeah, you got a lot happening there.
But
Okay,
any answer is interesting.
okay, let's see what we got.
Maybe you have to send the questions.
The Eight of Crystals. And whenever I get this card, it's like it's showing me that you're on the right path. Just keep going. It's like slow and steady. It's just like one thing that just keeps adding to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And it's just exponentially like gonna snowball sort of thing. So it's like what you're doing with your current retreat right now is all adding up, and it's all this information, all this thing. So it's just kind of like adding to it. So like even with the relationships, I'm just seeing like that's adding to the next layer. It's like, I don't know if any of them are going to become romantic or not, but they have key elements into getting you into that next step. So that you can, and you've already envisioned and visualized Majorca and like all the stuff that's happening. So we know that's going to happen, and you're on the path for it. Like if that wasn't going to happen, you wouldn't keep, dreaming about it and seeing it and connecting with people that want to get you there. So we know that's going to happen. So it's like, it's just basically a confirmation of keep moving.
And also, when that card shows up, I always know that the client has an artistic, like you're an artisan at something, where like there's a science that there's an art piece and no one can do or fabricate what you can do. And I think it's that talent that unlocks everything you were asking about.
Ah, cool. Oh, I like that. I love that. Well, all answers. Great.
Yeah.
I also just decided yesterday I have to cut some of my design clients off and just stop it to only put my heart fully into the retreat and the hosting, which sounds a bit harder. And the money in the beginning seems harder and tougher than when I design. I make a lot more money per hour, obviously. The hotel takes obviously many more hours, but I love it. So I'm very excited because I finally bit the bullet, and I told one of my clients and said, I can really no longer do this for you. And I found someone else already who was very happy to find a job, and there was already a magical match yesterday. So I'm like, really excited. I just need to get rid of all this consulting and just okay, that's it. Just focus only on the hotel. It will be fine.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing it. It's so cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for that confirmation.
You're welcome. Deborah, did you have a question?
Yes. What should I expect going into the school year? Getting ready to go back.
All right, let's see what this has for you. Oh, you got the vampire. The Knight of...
It's a nice vampire.
Yeah.
Nice vampire.
Yeah, like the ones on HBO.
The hot one. Do you want to share a little bit, Rachel, on...
Sure. It has a lot. It's the Knight of Swords, which I associate with taking in tons of new data, content, information, analyzing it quickly, and making a lot of decisions. So every time I get that card from myself or a client, I go, you're going into reading every book you can get your hands on mode. Just a thirst for content, knowledge, rapid learning.
Okay.
Yeah, and I even see all of this learning helping you with your school year, and it may just really dictate a lot of things that you're going to be doing. I'm seeing new ideas, new ways of thinking, new concepts coming through. So just being really open to if you hear about a study or information or a book, start pulling it through, because I just see it really guiding you with how you're going to work this year with the kids and everything else that you're doing. There's just there's new concepts that I'm just seeing develop within you.
Okay. Could that mean I'm looking for a part-time job too? Transition? Could that be for that also?
Yeah.
this new information
I mean,
come-
Rachel's saying it's pulling in and learning and gathering information. And
Okay. I get it then.
You're going to be able to go faster right now than ever before. To the point where you might not be able to do things slow. And you might also, are you a teacher? Is that when you might go back to school?
I'm a school nurse.
Okay. You
But,
might encounter a lot of advanced kids too. Everybody's going to be a little quicker.
Okay. All right. I get it. Thank you so much.
That card has AP all over it. Advanced placement.
Okay.
Yes.
awesome. Well, Rachel, I would love to know, what are you currently working on? What's next for you? What's brewing?
Yeah.
what's happening in your world?
Well, it's been a big year because we moved from Chicago to Austin, Texas. So that was quite disruptive. So it's been busier than usual, shall we say. So just making, the flower essences, making sure those get in the right hands, sending them out. I like wrapping them myself. I know that's weird, but I was like, I've created this business. I want to be touching pieces of it. And I used to work in corporate where you touched nothing and nothing felt real. So this is like a real blessing for me. And then just, on Instagram, Tuesday evenings right before this, I also do a Tarot Tuesday with the deck where I read for a good friend of mine who owns a business. It's a different person every week. Next week, we have someone named Teresa Reed, the Tarot Lady on Instagram. I'm going to read her cards. So just try and have fun. So just reach out if you want to know about anything. And the deck is on Amazon. We self-published it. So we just went with Amazon because self-publishing is so frustrating. I was like, whatever, we'll just put it in one place.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We will definitely put all of your contact information in the show notes,
Yeah.
your Instagram, all that, so that we can follow you on Tarot Tuesday on your space as well.
Yeah, this is exciting. You have a great group. I love everybody. And cute dogs. I need more dogs in my life. I just have mine.
Yeah, we're a pretty tight group here. Some of them we met while we were in San Diego together, and then Kelly left, and Deborah, Jenna, and Jeriana found me, during the shutdown, and I was putting all my moon circles online instead. And Michelle, was on Instagram, and Carrie is another designer, tarot deck designer. And so it's been really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to playing more with your deck and just really tapping in. And if you guys do get her deck, the one thing that I was really surprised about is, like I said, it's the words that you wrote in the book. And usually I don't read a lot, but I love reading other people's interpretations and perspectives on it. And just the phrases that you have in here, like I said, they are like easy mantras for me to adapt and to add to my life. So
well, thank you. Yeah, as you know, there's a lot of bad tarot booklets out there. So, and there's good ones too. So you learn through contrast. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to try and do what she did.
Yeah. It's very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've been listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. If it's one that you have been enjoying, please share with anyone else that you think can benefit from this knowledge, and leave us a 5-star review. That helps us get seen and found by other new and aspiring interior designers. And if you're looking for mentorship, I invite you to join our club here at the Design Coven. It's a bridge between school and real life interior design. We get in much deeper there. We have virtual and in-person events, so everyone is welcome. You don't need to have a design degree to be part of it, just an interest in holistic interior design. I also want to thank our editor, Marcy Ferry, and lastly, Kinseth Thibodeau, who is our music composer. Until next time, be well, and we will see each other soon.